when we talk about negative output gap, it simply means that the potential, the actual output exceeds the potential output. That's a negative output gap, okay? So if this happens, the impacts are this. One, it means there are unemployed resources within the economy. And if there are unemployed resources, it reduces the level of income within the economy. If the level of income is reducing within the economy, aggregate demand is expected to fall. So one of the impacts of negative output gap is that it will bring about low inflation rates. So demand within the economy would fall. And if demand within the economy is falling, it reduces demand pull inflation. So prices become affordable because not everyone can afford not everyone can afford goods and services. So that's one impact. That's low inflation rate. Then they said government is likely to have a budget deficit. Yeah. Why would government be having a budget deficit here? Because there's unemployed resources, right? If there's unemployed resources, it simply means that a lot of people do not have jobs. So government might have to spend more on unemployment benefits or on pension. So if government has to spend more, that means government expenditure will exceed government revenue, and that will bring about government having a worsening budget or budget deficit. So that's the impact of negative output gap within the economy. Now let me quickly talk about the pros and the cons of output gap. What are the benefits of measuring your output gap, and what are the disadvantages of measuring the output gap? One, when you measure the output gap, it provides you a picture of how the economy looks like. Do you understand the first advantage about using output gap? When you measure it, when you measure your output gap, or when you measure your output, it means you're having a clear picture, a clear view of how your economy is. Two, it allows policymakers to make decisions about output. Do you get it? Three, we can talk about consumers and producers having information on how to make decisions about their purchases and their investments. Do you get it? But what are the problems about measuring output? One, it is hard to measure because we cannot really understand what our potential output is going to be. It's difficult to measure it because it's not something that we can observe what happens in the future. Or we want to know our potential output. How do we want to know that? They are based on estimates. So that's one of the reasons why it is difficult to measure output. Two, there's no uniformity in measuring output. Country A might use country A might use employment. Country B might use technology. Country C, there are different ways in which we can measure output. And another point I could mention is about the relationship. Output is all about how the economy works. So it is intertwined with the economy itself. So we can't talk about our output without understanding the state of our economy. And the state of our economy is interdependent because events that happen outside of our economy are part of what could affect our own economy because there's globalization. So in as much as there's globalization, whatever happens outside will happen inside too. Okay. Is it clear?